Greetings everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is July the IT guy, and I'm here with one of my ebooks or a reference book that I've put together. This comes from 12 years of networking experience, primarily in the satellite communications KU band network. So a little bit of my background: I have approximately 12 years in networking configurations, again for a satellite communications network KU band, in the commercial aviation sector and also in the government side. I've gained a few certifications along my career. I currently do have my Security Plus CompTIA certification. I have cybersecurity for critical urban infrastructure from MIT. I've also completed the Google Cybersecurity Professional Certificate Program. And just last year, I've gained and completed the AI Essentials for Business from Harvard Business School. So again, with any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I've titled this book, VLAN Security Hardening Guide. It's a technical level defense strategies translated into plain English. So I am aware and understand that sometimes the technical wording can be a little bit overwhelming. So the concept here was to kind of translate that and bring it to a plain English translation, pretty much so that everyone and anyone can understand it. So the CCNA Cyber Shield, what is it, right? So protecting the soundproof rooms. Configuring the VLAN is easy. Security in VLAN is an art form. In the world of networking, layer 2 is the most common place for hackers to start their attacks. Sometimes because IT guys leave the default settings turned on. Again, this 25-page deep dive is focused strictly on the best safe practices. So we take the 22 most important security commands and break them down using our signature formula. So how does this work? The technical level, the formal Cisco-approved definition. This is the exact terminology you need to know for the CCNA 200-301 version 1.1 exam and professional technical interviews. So in plain English, the same concept translated into a simple analogy. While the technical definition helps you pass the exam, this plain English translation helps you keep hackers out of your network. We will be walking through, I have here Packet Tracer Lab. I will be utilizing a switch to walk through the command line interfaces and the command lines and the configurations, so that way we can get a visual of the exact configurations. Primarily its focus is on a layer 2. This means it will be configuring in a switch, and we will be walking through, again, through Packet Tracer Cisco Lab. So let's start with number 1, the security philosophy of VLANs. On a technical level, virtual local area networks, or VLANs, facilitate administrative segmentation by decoupling the logical network topology from the physical infrastructure and forcing layer 2 isolation through distinct broadcast domains. So an explanation here is VLANs are like soundproof rooms in a giant office. So even if a hacker breaks into the lobby, they are physically trapped in that one room. They cannot hear or see the valuable secrets locked in the CEO's office or the accounting room. So security best practices, right? Limiting attack surface. A virus in VLAN 10, for instance, cells cannot spread to VLAN 20 HR without passing through a security guard. For instance, a firewall or an access control list. Regulatory compliance, PCI DSS and HIPAA often require keeping credit card data or medical records in their own locked room or perhaps a VLAN, and then reduce congestion. So by creating smaller rooms, you stop the entire building from being slowed down by useless background noise, in this case broadcasts. All right, so let's go over to the lab. Let's go ahead and select the switch. I'll be utilizing the 2960 switch for this example. All right, let's go ahead and go to the command line interface. Okay, the switch is powered on. Let's go ahead and let it boot up. All right, so we're in. Let's press enter, and we are prompt to the user exec mode. So useful command to verify which VLANs are configured would be the show VLAN brief command. And there you have it. So this is the default configuration on any switch from out of the box configuration. So by default, all switches have VLAN 1 configured. This allows traffic to pass through as soon as you power and plug in. As you can see, we have 24 fast Ethernet ports or interfaces, all assigned to VLAN 1, and also the last 2 gigabit Ethernet ports 04/1 and 2. So best practice would be to change the default VLAN from VLAN 1, which is again the default configuration, to any other VLAN ID to prevent possible hackers from trying to infiltrate your network by going through VLAN 1. All right, so moving on, let's go ahead and go to point number 2. The native VLAN brings us to security. So technical level, the native VLAN identifies untagged traffic on an 802.1q trunk. Using the default VLAN facilitates VLAN hopping attacks. Security best practice dictates reassigning the native VLAN to an unused ID. So an explanation, the native VLAN is the backdoor of the highway, so by default is left wide open for anyone. So security pros change this door to a secret number and then lock it so hackers can't use it to sneak between rooms, right? So security best practices would be prevention. Change the native VLAN from 1 to something like 999. Do not use 999 for any actual computers. So it could be any number assigned or VLAN ID aside from the native or default VLAN 1 configuration. Hard coding. Explicitly tag the native VLAN to prevent any data from traveling without a license plate tag. And verification. In short, both switches on a wire agree on the same secret door number to avoid network errors. So how do we configure this? All right, let's go back to the switch. Let's enter enable to escalate to privilege exec mode. Configure terminal to enter global configuration mode. In this case, let's go to interface fast Ethernet 01. And let's go input switchboard trunk native VLAN 999. And there you have it. Simple as that. Let's go ahead and click end. Brings us back to user exec mode. All right, so number 3, disabling DTP, dynamic trunking protocol, non-negotiate. So technical level, dynamic trunking protocol DTP allows switches to negotiate trunking states automatically. Hackers exploit DTP to spoof a switch and gain access to all VLANs. Disabling negotiation is critical security step. So my input would be switches love to talk to and try to be helpful. A hacker can trick a switch by pretending to be another switch, asking, hey, let's open a highway. To stop this, we tell the port, stop talking, just follow orders. What does this mean by orders? It means the configurations that we input into our switches. So some of the security best practices: lockdown, use switch port, non-negotiate on all important links. Hard coding, manually set every port to either user mode, which is access, or highway mode, which is trunk. Never let them guess. And attack prevention, this prevents a hacker from using a laptop to whisper to the switch and open a backdoor to the whole building. So how do we configure this? All right, so let's go back here and enter interface, or actually config terminal, interface fast Ethernet. So since we've been working on, let's try fast Ethernet 0-5, and then switch port mode trunk, and then switch port non-negotiate. And there you have it. So again, this is best practice to configure your interfaces on non-negotiate. So let's go ahead and exit, or let's continue and let's just maintain this interface for the next command. So moving on, number 4 is port security, right? MAC filtering. On a technical level, port security limits the number of valid MAC addresses allowed on a port. If an unauthorized device connects, the switch can trap the traffic, send an alert, or shut down the physical port entirely. So what does this translate to? Explanation would be, this is like a VIP list for a nightclub. You tell the switch only Bob's laptop is allowed to plug into this wall. If a stranger tries to plug in their laptop, the switch senses a stranger and immediately kills the power to that port. So security best practices, maximum count, limit a desk port to exactly one device. This stops employees from bringing in their own unmanaged mini switches from home. Sticky max, tell the switch to learn the name of the device automatically and remember it forever, even if the power goes out. And violation shutdown. So if a hacker plugs in, the port turns off, shut down, and an IT guy must manually go and turn it back on. So how do we configure this? Let's stay on the same interface and let's input the switch port security command. Switch port security maximum. We're letting this interface know that the maximum number of devices or MAC addresses should be 1. And then switch port security MAC address sticky. Sticky just means that it'll learn the MAC address of that one device and it'll keep it on this interface associated with this specific interface, so that if any other device with a different MAC address attempts to connect on this interface or plugs into this port, it'll trigger an alert and it'll shut down the port. All right, so let's move on to the next one. This would be the management VLAN, VTY. So the management VLAN SVI provides a layer 3 interface for administrative access, right? Placing users in the management VLAN is a major security risk. It should be isolated and protected via ACLs or access control lists. So my input or translation will be the remote control for your switch should be in a separate secret room. You don't want a random guest in the lobby to be able to reach the buttons that control the entire network. Keep your IT tools on their own private number. So security best practices, isolation. Never use VLAN 1 for management. Create a dedicated VLAN 99 for switch access, or it could be any other VLAN except VLAN 1. Again, that's a default VLAN, and we are trying to implement the best practice configurations. SSH only, disable Telnet. Telnet sends your passwords in plain text. SSH scrambles them so hackers can't read them. And access lists. Tell the switch only computers in the IT office are allowed to try and log into the control room. So how do we implement this? Again, let's go back to our interface. And let's go and see. exit. So in this case, let's say we're utilizing VLAN 99. Again, it could be any other VLAN ID. In this example, we're utilizing VLAN 99. We haven't configured it yet, so the switch will be creating that VLAN for us. So interface VLAN 1, change state to up. There we have it. Let's give it an IP address. In this example, 10.1.99.10 and subnet mask /24 255.255.255.0, and it'll be no shutdown. And that's it. Simple as that. All right, so we'll do 2 more examples, and then I'll be wrapping up this video. I just want to point out that I created this quick reference book as best practice configurations. This comes again from almost 12 years of networking experience, along with cybersecurity professional certifications. So here we have number 6 will be VLAN allowed list pruning. Number 7, voice VLAN prioritization. DHCP snooping, dynamic ARP inspection, DAI, port fast and BPDU guard, shutting down unused ports, private VLANs, edge isolation, BTP transparent mode, router on a stick, security, layer 3 switch SVIs, the Speed King, routed ports versus switch ports, SSH management security in the CLI, console and enabled passwords, service password encryption, deleting VLANs and VLAN.dat, which is where the VLAN database rests. CDP and LLDP neighbor security, and logging and monitoring the eyes. So this is, again, just a quick reference. I'm thinking I might make it a part of a possible 4th series. I'll be uploading this ebook to my website, July the IT Guy. You can purchase it for a small fee of $4.99. Again, this is the Shields Complete. You have just completed a master class in Layer 2 security by implementing these 22 hardening steps. You have transformed your switch from a vulnerable factory default box into a secure enterprise-grade fortress. So just remember, the network is only as strong as its weakest wall jack. So stay vigilant, keep learning, and keep building. And again, now in the AI era, I know some people might be opposed. Some people are with. Always remember, you are the pilot. So AI is only your co-pilot. So you are in command. AI is there just to assist. And again, hopefully this quick reference book helps in hardening switch layer configurations to ensure that your network becomes a little more secure. Again, hackers know most of the default configurations, so it's best practice to change those. And I hope you guys enjoy this series. I'll be back here on another segment. Again, this is the first part of a possible 4-part series. I've titled it the VLAN Security Hardening Guide, Technical Level Defense Strategies Translated into Plain English. So once again, thank you for joining me today on my channel, July the IT Guy. I appreciate it very much. And yes, hopefully this serves and benefits you guys in network configurations, and I will keep you guys updated on the next ebook. So thanks everyone for joining me today, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.